April. Yuri Perez set to step on the mound for the Marlins as they open a 3-game series in Pittsburgh. The Fish will have the young right-hander on a strict pitch count between 70 and 75 throws. Coverage here on Fox Sports 940 Miami begins at 6. 25 of 32 NFL teams will open mandatory minicamp tomorrow, including the Dolphins, Bucks, and Jags, with most players expected to attend from Miami. Inter Miami CF held their first training session of the week today ahead of the Club World Cup, which kicks off Saturday night with the Herons meeting Egypt's Al Ali. I'm Eric Rodriguez, Fox Sports 940 Miami.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WINCA in Miami, WMIB FM HD2 Fort Lauderdale. Free never sounded so good.
1-0 pitch. Stowers cracks that one out to center and deep. Siri is back. He looks up and it's gone. The Marlins waste no time. Kyle Stowers with a 2-run shot, and they take a 2-0 lead in the first.
Miami Marlins baseball is on deck.
2-1. That kicks away from Rodriguez. Hill breaks for the plate. There will be no throw. And on a wild pitch, the Marlins walk it off again. 1-2. Conine lifts out to left field. Tommy Pham working back to the warning track. So is Sawinski. They look up and it's gone. Griffin Conine to left center. And we're tied at 2 in the 7th.
Marlins on deck. Brought to you by ADT, the official smart security partner of the Miami Marlins and Norwegian Cruise Line. Experience more at sea. Let's head out to the ballpark. Here's your host, Steven Strong.
All right, nice job, Carlos. Welcome. We're live from PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Steel City, on a 73-degree overcast Monday. We're supposed to start here at 6:40. I'll keep you updated. The clouds don't look particularly encouraging, but again, we will keep you updated. We're on the air. We'll be on the air for the next 5 hours. I don't care. You're listening to Miami Marlins baseball on the radio, Fox Sports 940 Miami. It's game 64 of 162. The second leg of this 3-city road trip for Miami begins tonight after the Marlins drop 2 out of 3 in Tampa. But the big story tonight, for the first time in 628 days, Yuri Perez is back, and he'll take the bump for the first time in 2025, and the first since recovering from Tommy John surgery that forced him to miss the entire 2024 season. Win, loss, bad start, good start, it doesn't matter, because the Marlins will watch their future of the franchise, Yuri Perez, make his way back to the mound here tonight. We're pumped to bring you game 1 of this 3-game set between the 26-40 Pittsburgh Pirates and your 24-39 Miami Marlins. We mentioned it, Perez, 22-year-old right-hander at 6'8". He will make his first start of the season. He will go opposite Mike Burrow, 25-year-old right-hander, who will make his 4th start for the Pirates here tonight. First pitch slated for 6:40 right here on the Marlins Radio Network. Well, hi, everyone. Thanks for making Marlins on Deck a part of your Monday night with Scott Kornberg. I'm Steven Strom. Jack McMullen is not with us tonight. He is attending the celebration of Bert, his grandfather's life. And on the behalf of Scott and the Marlins organization, we're sending our love and thoughts to the McMullen family. Let's get you the lineup for the show tonight. And we thank you for your participation. And I already start to see a little precipitation down on the field right now. Again, we'll keep you updated. We're supposed to go here at 6:40, but it doesn't look particularly good out in the sky here at beautiful PNC Park. A lot to get to. I got a Yuri Perez one-on-one yesterday with Louis Durante ahead of his start. We also have Scott and Clayton as well to get you ready for game 1. We'll get you out of the count. I'm going to get into both teams and where they're at coming into tonight, because, again, I think this is going to be an extended pregame. We got our Expo question up today at Marlins Radio, and then Steve's Guarantee plus Scott will jump in for some back and forth. So I am going to start here where both teams are at. We'll begin with the Pirates, and a lot has changed since we last saw Pittsburgh on opening day. Derek Shelton was relieved of his duties on May 8th after starting 12-26, but Pittsburgh's playing good baseball. They're coming off a 3-game sweep of the Phillies. They were the last team in the majors to win 3 straight games. The Pirates won all 3 of them by 1 run, very similar to what we've seen with Miami. How many 1-run games have Miami had over the last couple of weeks? And the bullpen for Pittsburgh has been sensational. 9 2/3 scoreless innings, allowing just 3 hits across the 3-game sweep of the Phillies. Henry Davis, the guy to look out for right now, Pittsburgh's 25-year-old prospect who was recalled again. He was awesome over the weekend, hit .364 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs, all coming in big spots. For the Marlins, man, what a bizarre weekend in Tampa. First of all, playing in a minor league stadium was odd. The heat was overbearing at times, and just a lot of weird stuff happened. Clayton McCullough and Xavier Edwards were ejected on Friday afternoon, both their first ejections in the show. The Marlins won a wild game on Saturday in extra innings, and Ryan Weathers had a scare before that game on Saturday afternoon even started. Nick Fortes fired a ball down to second base after Weathers' final warm-up pitch to start his start that struck him on, fortunately, the top of his head. Now, I got some injury updates and some roster moves that I'm not sure if I can share right now, but I will share later in the show regarding Ryan Weathers. But at least Ryan Weathers, from his head standpoint, is okay. Kyle Stowers, he also had missed the final 5 games up until yesterday, where Clayton McCullough inserted him as a pinch hitter. He's back in the lineup tonight after nursing that sore hand. But again, the headliner tonight, Yuri Perez, is back, and he is going to make his first start of 2025. And let's get to it here. I want to throw down to Scott Kornberg and Clayton McCullough's conversation, not only going over with Yuri Perez, but also some other storylines coming into this week on this Monday night from PNC.
Welcome back here to Marlins on Deck, Steven.
Thanks, Steven. Marlins manager Clayton McCullough joining us right now. Clayton, thank you for the time. The storyline's pretty obvious today. Yuri Perez is back. What are the expectations for him? What is his workload going to be like in his first start in the major leagues in a couple of years?
Yeah, well, he's had the opportunity through this return to play rehab process to get 7 or 8 starts under his belt, and we certainly incrementally built the innings, the ups, the number of pitches as he's gone along. He has gotten into the 80s, in his last one. So, Yuri. A full kind of what you think normal starter, 100 pitchers or so, not there yet. I mean, I think we also want to be just cognizant of, where we're at, and this is a long-term play with him. So he has enough pitches to get us into the middle part of the game, depending on the efficiency of it. And I think really today, what I'm most excited to see is just a very talented young player that we're counting on as part of our future here, to be able to come back and compete at the major league level after a very lengthy rehab process. I think just excited to know how much a player goes through during that time for it all to kind of culminate with that return to the mound here. So just as excited just to see him walk out of there in a uniform and go to the bullpen, warm up, come back through, shake hands, and then watch him run out there and go compete.
The last couple of days for you guys, you've gone through your bullpen big time. Obviously the big win Saturday. Bullpen works a lot there. Yesterday was a bullpen game by design. Are there any plans on how you want to handle things once Yuri's day is done today?
Yeah, I think we did. We had to lean on the guys down in the pen quite a bit during that Tampa series, and they all answered the call. They really, it was an outstanding job by a lot of guys, asking multiple innings and going back to back, and maybe a few things that we haven't had to ask of them very much this year, but they answered it, and we'll be cognizant of that. We have Yuri going tonight. Jansen Junk will certainly factor into this game, and he's been built up and stretched out, and these types of things. Sometimes it just takes you a couple days to get through, and you kind of get with the off day to turn things back over. We'll be able to be in a good spot to piece these together for a few days until we can kind of come out of what was a tough 3 days for our pen.
Marlins manager Clayton McCullough joining us right now. Another guy coming back to the lineup today, much shorter timeout, was Kyle Stowers. This is a really good pitching staff you guys are going to see this week. They're 5th in ERA in baseball over the last month. How big is his presence in the middle of the order for your club?
Certainly. What Kyle has meant to our offense this year, can't be overstated. He's hit in the middle of the order. It's the impact he's had. There's a presence there now. I think when we go play other teams, that certainly Kyle is someone that the opposition so needs to circle and game plan maybe differently for than in the past, because his ability to change the game. To have him back there in the middle of the lineup again to help lengthen things out while also being a dynamic contributor is big for us.
Top of the order, Xavier Edwards. He's been so good since coming off the injured list. Do you look at that as, hey, he's healthy and he's playing healthy for the first time, or is that there is a little bit of a less physical grind in playing second base than shortstop?
Maybe I think what X has been doing recently is the version of X that everyone has been grown accustomed to. It's high at bat quality. He's staying in the strike zone. It is slashing the line drives. kind of all around the field, using the middle of the other side of the field, using the bunt game, getting into at bats, being stubborn in the strike zone, and even there was a stretch when some of the hits weren't falling, but like the quality of the bat was good, and then unfortunately he had the injury and had to miss a little time. But even then, right before that, felt like it was turning, and kind of trending back towards the type of at bat and approach that leads to success for X. And since he's come back, I think he's just picked up and again really done a nice job of swinging at pitches he wants to swing at, and then hitting those low kind of tracing liners up the middle the other way.
Last question for you, Clayton. Obviously, you guys saw Pittsburgh in the beginning of the year. They are a very aggressive base running team. They stole a bunch of bags that season opening series. What are the plans to try to limit that base running the Pirates do so well?
Yeah, we will have to vary our times of the plate. We're going to have to try to, hold the ball some, vary up the cadence, just to try to, you're just trying to keep a potential threat over there for as many pitches as you can. Try to have the at bat, within the first 3 pitches, get some action from the hitter and get the ball moving. But we certainly are cognizant and aware that's a big part of their game and what they had done to us earlier in this season. We'll just, have to do our part, and certainly our awareness is heightened on that. And so we'll just do our best to try to mitigate and slow it down.
Marlins manager Clayton McCullough, thank you so much for the time. Good luck this week.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good job there, Scotty. His first ever Marlins on Deck interview with Marlins manager Clayton McCullough. We got a lot of good stuff there. Pirates 5th in the league in stolen bases, and that was a big storyline over the weekend. Opening weekend, the Pirates stole 15 bases, but the Marlins have done a lot better job, I think, neutralizing that as we've gotten deeper into the season. Now, some of the takeaways here with Yuri Perez, he's going to throw 80 to 85 pitches today, and Jansen Junk, you heard from Clayton McCullough, at some point is going to be used in this game. We'll see where it is. It could be situational, obviously. The game state can dictate what Clayton McCullough wants to do. For example, hopefully this doesn't happen. If the Marlins are down in this game, 4-5-0, which won't happen with Yuri Perez on the mound. We're staying positive here. But if that is the case, he probably will go to someone else. But if this is an opportunity where, you're in the 4th inning, you got a 2-1 lead, and the Marlins need a couple of outs, 2 outs with runners on the corners, you might see Ronnie Enriquez to clean up that inning and then Jansen Junk to follow. We've seen Junk work with Cal Quantrill a couple of times this season. The Marlins have asked Cal Quantrill to go 4 or 5 innings and then put Jansen Junk, insert him into the game. We're going to see that, I think, early on, especially with Yuri Perez, 22 years old, coming back from Tommy John surgery. You want to make sure, and babying isn't the right word for it. It's monitoring, and it's making sure you're not pushing him to a level where you're not going to get him over the course of the season. I think the plan here for Yuri Perez is to get, 20, 25 starts. I think, 20 starts is maybe bullish, but I think there's a plan here in place for Yuri Perez to be inserted slowly but shortly back into the rotation. And hopefully, again, the big thing tonight is making sure he responds well, recovers well tomorrow. And I led with this. Good start, bad start. It is great to be a Marlins fan. It's great to be a Marlins brass right now. Yuri Perez is back on the mound and will toe the rubber for the Marlins for the first time in 2025. Coming up next, we will hear from Yuri, and of course translated by Louis Durante. I also tried just a little bit of Spanish. Un poquito. Just again, we're like Yuri. We're trying to get into the Spanish, quick and diligent and despacito as possible. See what I'm doing here. Yuri Perez will join the program next. Again, he will make his first start of 2025. Marlins on Deck continues, 6:40 first pitch, but that could change with some of the clouds that I'm seeing at PNC Park. We're back in 2 minutes on the Marlins Radio Network.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
3-2 on Sanchez, the pitch. High fly ball, pretty deep right field. Caballero turning around, looking up, it's gone! Jesus Sanchez crushes a 3-run home run. And after a 4-run raised second, the Marlins have come charging back with 4 here in the 3rd. It's 4-all on Sanchez's bomb, 425 feet off the awning over the stands and right.
2-2 pitch on the way to X. And that one a ground ball right side. That's through for a base hit. Norby comes in to score. Fortes going first to third. And Caballero picks it up. He pretty much walks it back into the infield. It's an RBI single for X. And the Marlins within 1 in the 5th.
It's 6-5 Rays, and that gets Kevin Cash out of the Rays dugout. 1-2. That one wandered into shallow left field. The left fielder coming on. Morel dove, and it got behind him. It just dribbled, and it died in the outfield grass in left field. But Hicks pulls into second base. He's got a 2-run double. Sanchez scores from third. Lopez scores from second. And the Marlins are pouring it on here. It's 9-6 in the top of the fifth. It's on the way. And Myers lines one into left center field. That's in for a base hit. That'll plate another run. That takes Mangum to his forehand, but his weight working back. Myers with a head-first dive into second base. He beats the relay throw, and it's an RBI double. The Marlins have hit around, and they have plated a bunch this inning. 6 across in the frame, and it's 10-6 Marlins in the fifth.
Looks at second twice. Here's his pitch. Hernandez loops it in the air. Shallow center field. It'll get down for a hit. Lopez gets the wave around third. Heading for the plate. The throw goes into second. Lopez.
Welcome back here to Marlins on Deck. Steven Strom, Louis Durante, and our special guest today, Yuri Perez. First of all, ¿cómo le va? Gracias por su tiempo.
No, gracias a ustedes. Primeramente agradecido con Dios y con ustedes por el tiempo. Me va súper bien. Agradecido con Dios por la salud y por un día más.
Yeah, thank you all for for the opportunity. Thank God and for another day. Thank God for another day.
So he is making a start, obviously, tomorrow, recording this in Tampa Bay. But your journey, man, like this has been obviously a long journey for you to come back from Tommy John. I want you to talk to me about who in your life you really leaned on during this time.
No, primeramente dándole gracias a Dios porque sin él nada de esto hubiera sido posible. La familia que siempre estuvo conmigo, los muchachos también dándome apoyo en todos los sentidos y más yo tratando de recuperarme, de fortalecerme y de tratar de hacer la cosa bien.
Yeah, first of all, thank God, for the support and my family as well. The boys, my teammates, and of course I have to thank myself too, for just keep grinding and helping and working every day.
What are some of your feelings ahead of your first start of 2025?
Es algo increíble. No sé cómo explicártelo porque siento demasiadas emociones. Siento que es como si estuviera volviendo a jugar pelota de nuevo. Es algo de la cual esperé mucho tiempo y traté de mejorar cada día para volver a ese juego, a ese primer juego.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's difficult to describe. There's a lot of emotion. It's like pitching again, like for the first time. So I've been working a lot on getting better, and I'm very excited just to hit the mound again.
Steven Strom, Yuri Perez, and Louis Durante. 2 more left for you, Yuri. Yesterday you had your bullpen, again recording on a Sunday, but you had your bullpen on Saturday. How did that go?
Súper bien. Tratamos de trabajar en los picheos adentro. Las cosas estaban saliendo súper bien. Me sentí súper bien porque puedo hacer ese mismo trabajo en el juego y siento que las cosas van a funcionar mejor.
Yeah, super good. Just working on the inside pitches, working on a few of the pitches that I need to do, some of the off speed, and then very excited because I think it's going to work very well during the game.
It was so fun to watch you in 2023. What can we expect that's the same, and what can we expect maybe a little bit different with this version of Yuri Perez?
Bueno, poniendo la cosa primeramente en Dios, que sea el que maneje esta temporada, ya que hemos trabajado mucho también. Y nada, y pidiéndole a él salud primeramente, que sea lo que él quiera. Y no, yo voy a tratar de salir al terreno siempre a competir, a dar lo mejor de mí en todo momento y tratar de ganar juegos.
Yeah, I would like to just make sure that God is behind the wheel and guiding me. And I'll be doing my best as well, going out there. As long as he keeps me healthy, I'm going to be out there doing my best on the mound and helping the team to win some games.
Gracias, chicos. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. That was Yuri Perez, Louis Durante. We have more on deck on Marlins on Deck. It continues on the Marlins Radio Network.
Here's the 3-0. High fly ball, left center field, pretty deep. Mangum, the center fielder, back near the wall, leaping, and it's out of here. Augustin Ramirez leads off the fourth of the home run, just over the wall in left center field, and the Marlins are on the board. It's 3-1 Tampa Bay.
Can play shortstop a lot. That pitch to Otto is crushed out to left field and deep. Mangum back. He's looking up, and it's gone. It's a one-run game. Otto Lopez again, pull side pop. He's showing it off this year, his 5th home run on the season, and it's 4-3 in the top of the 8th inning. 1-2. Sanchez lines one into right. That's in for a base hit. Fortes can trot home. Sanoja will go first to third. Jesus Sanchez not only makes it a 9-game hitting streak and a 15-game on-base streak, but he gives the Marlins the lead with the RBI single against Dolander. 1-0 Fish in the third.
Well, you got a curveball. You sped up his bat after fastballs at the top.
1-0 from Dolander. That one a line shot up the gut and throw for a base hit. It came in at 98. It left at 106. And it plays Jesus Sanchez from third base. 2-0 Marlins in the bottom of the third on the Stowers. 3-2. That one lifted down the left field line. Stowers on his horse. Tailing into foul ground. Stowers slides. Kyle made the catch. Kyle Stowers went sliding into foul territory up against that padded wall down the left field line. And Kyle Stowers takes an extra opportunity away from Mickey Moniak.
And it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Hey, this is Xavier Edwards here, and you're listening to Marlins on Deck with Steven Strom on the Marlins Radio Network.
Well, thank you, Xavier. I thought I was going to see you in about 22 minutes, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case. The tarp is on the field here at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Steel City. Steven Strom. Scott Kornberg is with us now. Of course, Scott, you get your opportunity to call your play-by-play game by yourself, and I'm going to interject, obviously, throughout points of the game, but looks like we're going to probably have a delayed start here.
Yeah. The odds are not good of starting on time. I just want to start at some point. First and foremost, our thoughts are with Jack McMullen, who had the death of a family member, and we've been thinking about him and his family really throughout today. Secondly, in a less important front, the tarp is on the field. It's raining very lightly here.
I'm going to give them a view here on the GoPro. Okay. I'm sorry for our audio audience, but here's this view of the tarp on the field. This is next level coverage, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you want a description, the tarp is white. It's covering the infield. It's not all that dark here, really, in general. It's a very light rain. There's a few players who are just kind of wandering around the field right now. Not all the fans have been able to find cover, or really need to find cover at the moment. So it's light. Hopefully it will stay light, and hopefully it won't be too long of a delay.
Yep.
A lot of anticipation today, as you know, Steven, with Yuri Perez coming back. And the Pirates have a pretty darn good right-hander on the mound for themselves as well.
Yeah, going opposite Mike Burrow, 25-year-old right-hander, who we'll get into in a couple of minutes, Scott. But, Yuri is the clear story. And I got to tell you, man, I woke up this morning. I had a different strut in my step in my strut. I got to be honest with you. I swaggered my way to the gym. I swaggered my way around Pittsburgh because that's what this guy does to you. And when I remember in 23, when he made his debut, I could not believe the size of Yuri Perez. To give you an idea, 6'8". That is obscene size for any human being, let alone a pitcher. He controls his body like I've never seen before. But, man, Scott, it's a good day to be Marlins brass and Marlins fans to get this guy back on the hill.
Yeah, we saw him in AAA Jacksonville, and we had never seen him. Remember, he had skipped Jacksonville on the way up, getting promoted from AA Pensacola. He had a great relationship with Dave Island, the old pitching coach for the Blue Wahoos, and that was a huge reason why. Just wanted him to continue to work with Dave. And to get to see him for the first time, I said this to our manager, David Carpenter, and I was like, this guy is everything he is supposed to be. And it is wild, the size of him when you meet him for the first time. But, man, is he just an impressive charisma. He's young, but he gets along with everybody. And on the mound, he is fearless, and the stuff was electric from what I understand from our coaches and people in the organization. They really felt like it was better than where it had been in 2023. Like he had worked his way back, and now was just about those final steps to today, which is happening hopefully in a little bit. So this is really exciting. It's hard to believe. Like, even in AAA, Steven, he was starting games, and he was younger than some of the other starting pitchers he was facing by 3-4 years.
Crazy,
Yeah.
absolutely absurd. And a couple of storylines I do want to look out for with Yuri. And number one, of course, is just the health, right? And I'm curious to see what this hopefully doesn't affect anything with the rain. I hope not. But, of course, they're going to take every precautionary reason for Yuri Perez. But one thing I'm really interested about, Scott, we saw 23, his rookie year. He was awesome. I mean, just electric stuff. What is going to be maybe a little bit different as he evolves into, 22 years old? We saw him at 20 years old, so I'm very interested. I know he added a couple of pitches. I won't spoil that. I'll let you take that. But I'm super, super excited to see what this version of Yuri Perez looks like. Now, I want to get everyone ahead of the count. We'll hear from Scott in next segment. We'll get you on the next segment, Scott. You can stay on. I can see your beautiful outfit here, or you can go do your work. I don't care, whatever you want to do.
I'm good.
You're good? All right. Well, you're good. Let's get you ahead of the count then, folks. Again, Fox Sports 940 Miami. Carlos back in the studio. The tarp is on the field here at PNC Park. It's just gorgeous here. I mean, it is. We're underneath the roof, so we're not getting wet or anything like that. Again, Steven Strom, Scott Kornberg. He has your call. What was supposed to be 6:40. I'm waiting for an update. I can't tell you anything other than the tarp is on the field, and if you get any updates, Guy, you just let me know. You just jump in and interrupt me. All right, Yuri Perez, 22-year-old right-hander. He has returned from the 60-day IL, and this is what I can tell you. The move, because obviously Yuri Perez was on the 60-day, that means that something or someone has to there needs to be a move. And the move today, Yuri Perez returned from rehab and reinstated from the 60-day IL. Ryan Weathers placed on the 60-day IL with a left lat strain. Connor Gillespie option to AAA Jacksonville. So a lot to chew off here on this broadcast. The high of Yuri Perez coming back, and now just feeling in the basement with Ryan Weathers, who was placed on the 60-day IL. He had an interesting weekend in Tampa, obviously. We've heard it. We've seen it. The Nick Fortes throw that, thank God, avoided the back of his head. He's okay from that standpoint, but it looks like he is headed to the 60-day IL with a left lat strain. We saw the velo go down from 96, 97 to 90 miles per hour. So back to our head of the count. Yuri Perez activated and off the 60-day IL. He's geared up to make his first start of 2025. Of course, his first since recovering from Tommy John. He made his final rehab appearance last week. He totaled 8 of them where he produced a 1.49 ERA, 27 Ks over 22 2/3. His 2023 year that Scott and I had mentioned, 19 starts, 5-6, a 3.15 ERA, 91 1/3 innings pitched, 108 Ks to 31 combined walks. He did face this Pittsburgh Pirates team back in 2023. Some new guys, obviously, on Pittsburgh now, but he did go 6 shutout, 4 hits, 9 Ks, and 1 walk. We heard Clayton McCullough tell Scott Kornberg earlier, Jansen Junk at some point is going to be inserted into this game. When, I don't know, but I can tell you Yuri Perez is going to throw 80 to 85 pitches. How many innings? We shall see. Perez will go opposite Mike Burrow, 25-year-old right-hander from Waterford, Connecticut, former 11th-round pick by the Pirates in the 2018 draft. Interesting story here with Burrow. He was selected to the 40-man in the offseason of 2022, but blew out with AAA Indy, had Tommy John on April 26, 2023, made his big league debut on September 28, 2024 against the Yankees, 3 2/3, 1 earned run, and he did earn his first career major league win. This year, he started in AAA, but then Colin, help me out here, Scott, Majowski was the one that he replaced in the starting rotation. That's why I needed you on. Majinski. Yep. He did replace Majinski in the starting rotation. 1-1 this year, 5.27 ERA, rather, 130, 13 2/3 innings pitched, 11 Ks to 4 walks for Mike Burrow. So he did take the spot in the rotation there. He earned the win on Wednesday over the Astros, 5 1/3 scoreless innings, 6 Ks, 5 hits. His ERA is up because his first 2 starts, he gave up 8 earned runs over 8 1/3. He will feature a 4-seamer, a changeup, a slider, and a curveball. So Mike Burrow will go opposite Yuri Perez. We will break here. We've got a lot more to talk about. Yuri Perez making his first start here in 25, and Ryan Weathers placed on the 60-day IL with a left lat strain. We will be back in 2 minutes, hopefully with an update. The Tarp is on the field here at PNC Park. First of 3 against the Pirates. Again, Yuri Perez is set to make his 2025 debut. We will break. We'll have more on the Marlins Radio Network.
The pitch at the same grip. Sometimes
1-1. Lee pumps into right center field. Myers on the move. Dane Myers back to the track. Myers jumps up, and he made an insane play. Dane Myers in right center field went leaping at the wall, full speed into the padded wall, grimacing as he lays on the warning track. But Dane Myers just took an RBI double away from Jung-Hoo Lee.
That's incredible again.
13 in the game with runners in scoring position yesterday. 1-2 pitch is a roller over to third base. Arcia's got it. He's coming home, and Goodman just didn't catch the throw. Everybody up an additional 90 feet. So Sanchez to third, Augustine to second. That'll be an RBI fielder's choice, but a missed catch error on Goodman to play X from third base. We're tied at 1 in the bottom of the first.
The outside pitch, especially when you have a moving fastball.
First pitch to Otto Lopez is cranked through the left side of the infield. That is a base hit. They're going to hold Augustine at third, but Sanchez scores from third. And Otto Lopez, the shortstop for the Fish, plates another an RBI single. 2-1 Marlins in the bottom of the first. 1-0 pitch to Wagaman. Lopez on the go. Wagaman hits one out to right field pretty deep. Freeman is setting up camp. He makes the catch. Otto retreats to first, but that is deep enough to plate Augustine from third base. A sacrifice fly for Eric Wagaman, a productive out number 2. Brings in another run. It's 3-1 Marlins in the bottom of the first.
Throw in order to get the guy at home with 1 out.
2-1. That one lined into left center field. Doyle on his horse. Doyle looking up, and that thing slams off the wall in left center field. Sanchez.
Safe. Call Loctite Impact now at 954-500-LOCK. That's 954-500-LOCK, or visit LoctiteImpact.com.
Well, the show goes on. 30 minutes usually on the pregame show. We might have to go 2 hours, Scotty. I don't care. Fox Sports 940 Miami, Steven Strom, Scott Kornberg. Yuri Perez will go opposite Mike Burrow here, and my excitement is still through the roof. I don't care if there's tarp on the field. There is. Again, we were supposed to start at 6:40 here. It does not look like we are going to start on time. We're just seeing an update on the big board here at PNC Park. I'll read it verbatim. Weather update. Due to current conditions and forecast, we are uncertain as to tonight's start time. We will begin as soon as possible. Thank you for your patience. As over 800 people join the stream, let's try to get to 2,000. Whatever. That's our goal here tonight. All right, Scotty, where do you want to start, man? This is like you're going through what is it? What does Ron Burgundy say? A glass case of emotions. It's like a roller coaster. Yeah. I'm so excited to see Yuri Perez come back, but then I just read that Ryan Weathers is off to the 60-day IL with a left lat strain. How do you react, man? I guess go ahead.
I think that's the place to start. Is that the whole week, right? Ever since he made that last rehab start on Tuesday for Jacksonville, it's like, this is it. He's coming back Monday in Pittsburgh, and the anticipation is high, and it's like, wow, we could line up Yuri Perez, Sandy Alcantara, Ryan Weathers, all healthy at the same time in the same rotation, and now you can't do that anymore. And that's what's it's exciting, but it's so disappointing. And Weathers, just a rough beginning to the day on Saturday. And not his fault at all, right? He just throws his final warm-up pitch in the middle of the first inning, and in something that probably will never happen for a long, long time. Hopefully never happen for a long time. Yeah. His catcher hits him in the top of the head with a baseball on his throw to second base. And so you go from that. He appears to be all right. He didn't pitch great. The velocity, I don't know. Did you notice anything in the first inning or two? I was like, okay, it's like 95, 96. It's a little bit lower than where it was in Jacksonville. It was a little bit lower than where it was. The beginning of his time back with Miami. I didn't think it was anything concerning, but did you have that thought cross your mind? And then the third, I know we all
when it was the third, yeah. I don't know, Scott. I think because of the conditions and it can't be overstated just how hot it was in Tampa. I mean, it was steaming. You couldn't go out onto the field. Even like us, we had short sleeves and jeans on, and it was impossible not to sweat. And we talked about that going into the Tampa series, that the conditions were going to play some sort of factor, particularly on the pitchers. And we talked to the opposing broadcasters of the Rays, and they saw Jose Barrios go out after, only a couple of innings, and the heat was a real factor. So I think going into that start, that was a realistic possibility for Ryan Weathers. But, man, when the velo goes down to 90, 91, it's hard not to set off some sort of panic in your brain, because we watch this every day. And when Weathers is going, it's 97, 98.
Right. And in some cases, 99, 100 this year. So that was tough. And then after the game, there was that report, all was, going to be okay. And then obviously underwent some testing in the last day or two.
Right. And he did not travel with us to Pittsburgh, which was another little bit of we didn't see him in the clubhouse today, which was a little bit of a head scratcher because he told us post game that his arm felt good.
Right. So it just stinks, because the list. There's been so many guys down, and they're some of the most exciting arms in baseball. Ryan Weathers, when he's healthy, is one of the best left-handed pitchers in baseball. Yuri Perez is. I mean, it's kind of interesting, Stephen. I thought about this at least. Coming here, he was the number one pitching prospect before Paul Skeens when he had made his debut. So I thought there was a little bit of symmetry in him returning to the mound in a major league ballpark here, of all places. But, yeah, it just, the strength this team has built over the years has been the arms. And they've done an amazing job taking some chances on guys who, let's use Ryan Weathers as an example, who wasn't consistent, had kind of struggled a little bit.
When he came here, he was broken, Scott. Mm-hmm. When he came here, he was broken. They traded for Ryan Weathers for Garrett Cooper and Sean Reynolds. He made a start in San Diego, probably shouldn't have made it, and just got beat up. And there was a look in his face of fear. And for a guy that dominated in high school and got to the majors at his age and debuting in the playoffs, man, he was in a bad place. And he's talked about it over the last couple of years on how that season really defined. It was a fork in the road moment for him. And hold on, we got an announcement here. Let me see if I can get you guys an update on this game.
Start time is 7:20.
Okay, so 7:20. That's over the PA. So we were originally supposed to play at 6:40 here at PNC Park, game one of a 3-game set, and it's actually starting to open up here. Look at the tarp is coming off here, Scotty, and look at the clouds. It's like they listened to us and said, you know what? We want to see Yuri. 7:20 first pitch. That's awesome. So we can keep going here on this conversation about Ryan Weathers, though, man. Last year, the left index strain, what a freaky injury that limited him to just, I think it was 13, 14 starts. And now this, man, this just it feels like a punch in the gut for Ryan Weathers.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I thought about today, Stephen, after we talked with Clayton McCullough this afternoon, and for those who are listening, you just heard that conversation. We asked him about the bullpen, and he immediately mentioned Jansen Junk, and that should have been telling to us, because if Weathers was indeed hurt, then if the seriousness is what it turned out to be, apparently, to throw him right on the 60-day injury list, not get him on the 15-day. The fact that he mentioned Junk and not Connor Gillespie was telling, because you don't have to clear a 40-man spot then by putting Weathers.
Glad you're explaining this. Yes, go ahead.
So Yuri Perez was on the 60-day injured list. He did not take up a 40-minute or 40-man roster spot. Excuse me. I was thinking 40 minutes from now we're going to be playing. 40-man roster spot. And therefore, you didn't need to clear a spot, or you did need to clear a spot to get him active for today's game.
They needed to make some sort of move, either an option, DFA, or a move to the 60.
Right. And so I think the question for the Marlins was, okay, what is the severity of the injury for Weathers? Because if it wasn't serious, then you'd have to do something else. You would put him on the 15-day injured list. In this case, it was sadly serious. So the other part of this is Connor Gillespie goes down. So when Clayton McCullough didn't mention Connor Gillespie as part of the plans for today's game, that should have been an alarm bell for us. So he did mention Jansen Junk. It just, It's very bittersweet. I like the way that you
Stinks.
phrased it. Yeah.
This is the bitter part, because again, Ryan Weathers, who I hope, again, and now you kind of have to start to question a little bit the health of someone in Ryan Weathers, who last year, again, was an all-star really in that conversation to begin the year. I want to get the exact numbers on how many starts he did end up making in 2024. But this was a guy that was really in such a sour season in 24, such a bright spot for the Marlins, made 16 starts and threw to a 3.63 ERA. Again, he's 25 years old, but started late with the flexor strain, during spring training, and got off to a late start. But man, just tough for Ryan Weathers. And I do want to flip the mood, because this is going to be an awesome night with Yuri Perez back on the mound. But Scott, if this is 60 days, earliest, as I look down to I don't even have a watch, and I don't know why I look down for time, because it doesn't tell me that. But August 9th would be the earliest that we could see Ryan Weathers.
Right. That's the very earliest, right? That's if everything goes okay. And again, we don't know what the injury is or the exact nature of that, but that would be the earliest. And that would mean him being healthy in about a month to go on a rehab stint with whatever minor league affiliates.
Then he's not going to throw. I mean, it's going to be a build-up, so it is going to be a lengthy process. And again, man, we wish Ryan Weathers the best. Just really disappointing, because he's just so much fun to watch. He's so much fun to talk to, a cerebral guy. Obviously, his dad, David, played in the majors for quite some time. And, Ryan Weathers hopefully will get well soon, and we'll see him back out here. And I was looking at the opening day starting rotation, and this is how funny baseball is, right? Like, you start, and this was in the beginning of spring training, you're thinking to yourself, okay, Sandy. Okay, then we're going to have Max Meyer, and then we're going to have Ryan Weathers, and then we're going to have Cal Quantrill and Edward Cabrera, and all of a sudden, no Max Meyer, not for that length of time, thank goodness, and no Ryan Weathers. So now you're down to Sandy, Yuri, Cal, Cabby, and that fifth spot.
Right.
And who will that fifth spot be? It could be Belloso. It could be Jansen Junk, but Jansen Junk's going to pitch tonight. They have the off day on Thursday. So there's a lot of, conversation that the Marlins brass is going to have about that fifth spot. I don't know what you think, Scotty, but that spot is open right now.
Could it be somebody like Adam Mazur?
Right.
Since you're sending down Connor Gillespie, you can't call him back up for about 2 weeks unless there's another injury, which you hope you don't have to deal with. So Mazur's already on your 40-man. He was great in April, kind of fell off a little bit in May, making some adjustments that just took some time to stick. And he's been pretty darn good the last 2 times out. So is it his time? He's, been in AAA for the last year or so and really started to improve his worth there. Do you just bullpen it and see what happens with Belloso as your long guy?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of discussion to be made. The other part of this is maybe you want to see how today goes. If Yuri Perez is only going to go between 80 and 85 pitches, if he could be efficient and he gives you 6 innings, or really, and let's be the best case scenario, 7, right?
Yeah, that would he'd have to be virtually perfect.
He'd have to be amazing.
Yeah,
that allows you to maybe use a bullpen game because you'd only use your bullpen for minimal time today. If it's coming off Tommy John, and in the not so good scenario is he's a little bit wild and his pitch count moves up really quick, and maybe he goes like in his last start with Jacksonville, the pitch count went up really quick, 82 pitches in that contest, and he was pulled in the middle of that game. That was on Tuesday. Let me figure out exactly how far he went on that day, Stephen, in my book here. So he went 4 1/3 innings.
Yeah.
Now you're asking Jansen Junk to cover, or whoever, to cover a little bit more time today. And that would maybe, okay, we've used our bullpen so much Saturday. We used them in a bullpen game so much Sunday. And we had to turn around and use the bullpen again a lot on Monday. That would maybe change your thinking. So I think you almost have to see how today goes. In terms of that.
And that's what you have to do in general in baseball, right? Like, it's just look at what's happened over the last 24 hours. You have euphoria on one end with Yuri Perez coming back, and then you have this really a morale dump with Ryan Weathers going to the 60-day IL. We have a couple comments in the comment section. DK Game postponed? No, DK. The game is not postponed. We're going to watch Yuri here tonight. We'll break 7:20 first pitch. Again, we were originally supposed to start at 6:40. It's game 1 of 3, Fox Sports 940 Miami. Marlins on deck. Carlos holding it down back in the studio. We will have more. I'm going into my final segment, so I'm going to have to go, this is going to have to be Rocky Balboa type. I mean, I'm going to have to go up these stairs like none other. So we'll be back in 2 minutes, and I'll somehow, some way give you some more information, some more entertainment, but we'll keep it rolling here on the Marlins Radio Network.
Jacksonville. Yeah. 3-2 on Sanchez, the pitch. High fly ball, pretty deep right field. Caballero turning around, looking up, it's gone! Jesus Sanchez crushes a 3-run home run. And after a 4-run Rays second, the Marlins have come charging back with 4 here in the third. It's 4-all on Sanchez's bomb, 425 feet off the awning over the stands and right.
2-2 pitch on the way to X. And that one a ground ball right side. That's through for a base hit. Norby comes in to score. Fortes going first to third, and Caballero picks it up. He pretty much walks it back into the infield. It's an RBI single for X, and the Marlins within 1 in the 5th. It's 6-5 Rays, and that gets Kevin Cash out of the Rays dugout. 1-2. That one wandered into shallow left field. The left fielder coming on. Morel dove, and it got behind him. It just dribbled, and it died in the outfield grass in left field. But Hicks pulls into second base. He's got a 2-run double. Sanchez scores from third. Lopez scores from second. And the Marlins are pouring it on here. It's 9-6 in the top of the 5th. It's on the way. And Myers lines one into left center field. That's in for a base hit. That'll plate another run. That takes Mangum to his forehand, but his weight working back. Myers with a head-first dive into second base. He beats the relay throw, and it's an RBI double. The Marlins have hit around, and they have plated a bunch this inning. 6 across in the frame, and it's 10.
Find their strength. Call us now or visit WernerHoffman.com. Let's win this together.
We're sprinting to the finish. 7:20 first pitch again. This was originally supposed to start at 6:40. We are live here from PNC Park. No more rain, no more tarp, more Yuri Perez. On the way, he's going to make his first start of 2025 and his first one since coming off the IL. 60-day, obviously recovering from Tommy John surgery. I'm Steven Strom. I'm the host of the program, but I am joined by Scott Kornberg, who will have your call here tonight. We're thinking of Jack McMullen and his entire family. He will be back with us tomorrow, Fox Sports 940. Miami, Carlos back in the studio. He's doing a nice job back there, per usual. And I'm thinking, I'm going to label this segment positive only. We discuss Ryan Weathers. We move on now to Yuri Perez. And another individual that we're going to get back in the starting lineup tonight, Kyle Stowers, who is hitting .280 this year with an .832 OPS. He will play left field. He has not started in the last 5 days. He did come on in a pinch hitting situation yesterday. But Scotty, it's nice. It's nice to look down to that lineup that, exploded on Saturday, but for the most part has been tamed, been domesticated offensively. But we'll see Kyle Stowers back in the lineup here tonight.
That's huge. And it was really interesting to hear Clayton McCullers' thoughts on that before the game because, everybody thinks, okay, you're playing the Pirates. They're already 14 and a half games out of first place. This team's going nowhere. The Pirates actually have a really good pitching staff. They play really good defense, and they could really pitch. So these guys, you want your big bats back there, and Kyle Stowers is certainly that. And I think the big question, Steven, at least I had it, was how much did that hand injury affect him in the lead up to
and that was a question we asked him. How long has he been dealing? And you know how that goes. They don't ever tell you.
No, they don't want to let
you know.
And they
should.
But he was 4 for his last 36 in the previous 11 games before that series against Tampa Bay. So, if he really is back to normal, you're talking about an all-star level talent in the middle of your order.
Yep.
And, oh, by the way, when you're supposed to face 3 right-handed starting pitchers against, again, not just Paul Skeens. I'm telling you, this rotation is good pretty much top to bottom. This is a really good pitching staff. To have Kyle Stowers back is really, really significant for this club. Same thing with Xavier Edwards, healthy and performing the way he has. Augustin Ramirez,
who will catch Yuri tonight.
Yep, who will catch Yuri. I mean, how exciting is that?
I was just going to say, man, that connection, Ramirez catching Perez, man, I could get used to hearing that for the next 15 years.
Right, or Joe Mack, right?
Or Joe Mack.
Shuffle them in and out. So I just, I know people hear Pittsburgh Pirates, and they're like, oh, this team's no good. This team is very misleading coming in, and they, in talking with a lot of the Pittsburgh people, the first month and change of the year, play with no energy. And
when they lost 3 out of 4 to the Marlins, I don't care who you play and when you play them. When you lose 3 out of 4 for opening day, I mean, people talk about you can't win a division early on, but you can sure lose some swag and some morale and some energy. When you get off to a slow start and you don't have aircraft carriers, it's sometimes tough. You can sit in it and you start looking at the record, and I think that might be what happened with the Pirates early on.
Yeah, and they fire their manager. And Don Kelly had been in all these interviews for several different jobs.
Former Marlin.
For a long time, and he finally gets the start. And, again, I'm not talking about they're playing like the Chicago Cubs in the Central, right? The
14 since Kelly's taken over.
But that's significantly better than where they were. They were 12 and 26 before that. And they make the change, and they're playing .500 baseball. And I know, again, they're not challenging the Cubs. They're not challenging the Dodgers or the Mets at the top of the league. But that is significantly better than 12 and 26, and they're playing with life and energy. And you just can't – I know you see this road trip, and you're like, okay, Tampa Bay is going to be tough. But, okay, Pittsburgh –
At least we have Pittsburgh.
Yeah. You can't think like that.
No.
This is a really, really good team.
Marlins on deck here. Steven Strom, Scott Kornberg, Fox Sports 940 Miami. It's the second series of this second leg of this 9-game road trip for Miami. 3 cities, 2 out of 3. The Marlins lost to the Rays in hot Tampa. We're here in Pittsburgh, PNC Park. We were supposed to start at 6:40. The tarp is off, though. We'll play at 7:20, so about 30 minutes, 29 minutes from first pitch. Yuri Perez will go opposite Mike Burrow. We're on the topic of the Pirates, and Scott, it feels like this is a similar team that we saw with the Rays in the sense that it's pitch first. They've got really good numbers, and that's why Pittsburgh has found some success. All 3 games against the Phillies this weekend, they were won by 1 run. In 2 of those games, they were both 2-1. We saw the Rays who can pitch, and we saw the Giants who can really pitch. Those games were incredibly close. But for the Marlins as a whole, I think I gave you the number, man. What is it here? The Marlins have played now in 5 straight 1-run games, and 12 games in a row have been decided by 2 runs or less. I don't know what that says. I don't know if that means that we're due here to break through, but, man, the Marlins have really hung tough with virtually any team and in any style.
They have. And we mentioned this over the weekend. This is kind of what you're hoping for in this phase of where the Marlins are right now. You've got a lot of guys who they're in the very, very, very beginning of their major league careers, hopefully for a long time to come. And what you don't want is for what the Pirates looked like in the beginning of the year, because they're in a similar boat. A lot of young guys who are trying to find their way in the major leagues. This team battles with everybody. The Rays people said that, oh, my God, this team is so plucky. And I know it's not the best compliment, right? You want to be that this team is really, really freaking good. But for where the Marlins are right now, where you're just seeing what you have, and okay, maybe this doesn't work out, but look at this. Augustin Ramirez is really turning out to be a really potent catcher.
Yeah,
in Major
cornerstone
League Baseball.
guy.
Yep. We could build with him. The fact that you have the buy-in every single game for this team.
Great sign.
We talked about it Saturday. They were down 4-0 in the second inning. They had lost 5 games in a row. You're facing the hottest team in baseball. Most teams would have just packed it in, especially because the Marlins hadn't scored more than 4 runs in a game in quite a while, and it had been something like 12 out of their last 15. They had scored 4 or below. So you're already down 4-0 in the second, and they rallied immediately to tie the game in the third. They rallied from another deficit in the middle innings. They took the lead with a humongous inning, blew it, but then came back to win again in extra innings. I think that's, I know everyone wants to have the winning team. I think that's going to come because of times like this, because you've got guys fighting their tails off to have a spot in the major leagues. And I think it shows.
All right, I want to throw to your interview again. We're going to replay this because it was a really good spot with Clayton McCullough. I'm going to allow this to load real quick. Carlos, we're going to go to that on StreamYard in a couple of seconds here, Scotty. But yeah, this Pittsburgh Pirate team, man, 14-14 since Don Kelly took over. Of course, Derek Shelton was fired and relieved of his duties earlier in the year after the slow start. Paul Skeens, good thing we get to avoid him. Jackie, again, was sensational yesterday. And we will see Mike Burrow tonight, who will go opposite Yuri Perez. Big storylines in this game, and I think we saw it in opening weekend, the stolen bases. 15 stolen bases for the Pirates over the Marlins in that opening weekend. Pirates are 5th in the league in stolen bases as a team. I'll ask you this, Scott. When you prepared for this series, what stood out to you when you were looking at some of the numbers and the trends with the Pittsburgh Pirates other than the stolen bases?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the pitching. The stolen bases is going to be something you really monitor this week, and that's what's really interesting is Augustin Ramirez's strength behind the plate is his arm. Anyway, you asked about something else, and this is a team that in their sweep of Philadelphia, they allowed only 6 runs. So their pitching, pitching and defense is really strong. They've got 10 starts of 7 innings pitched, 1 or 0 runs allowed. That's the most of any team in all of baseball. The Yankees are second. Their starting pitching ERA ranks 7th in all of baseball at 3.58. They've got the 4th most quality starts. So you're going to be in these tight games. It's a really similar team to the Marlins, honestly.
It is.
It's a team that struggles offensively at times, but they're in these really, really tight games because their pitching can be so good. Their defense can be so good, they really lock you down. That's what stood out to me is that even though you're missing Paul Skeens, there's still other arms behind him. I mean, Mike Burrows has got a lot of ability. He just earned his first starting pitching win in the major leagues with a brilliant outing against a good offense in the Astros.
Yep.
Mitch Keller, a lot has been said about him over the years. He's very good. And Bailey Falter's had a really nice season for them, 3.49 ERA on Wednesday.
All right, let's go down to listen to your interview that you did earlier with Marlins manager Clayton McCullough.
Thanks, Stephen. Marlins manager Clayton McCullough joining us right now. Clayton, thank you for the time. The storyline's pretty obvious today. Yuri Perez is back. What are the expectations for him? What is his workload going to be like in his first start in the major leagues in a couple of years?
Yeah, well, he's had the opportunity through this return to play rehab process to get 7 or 8 starts under his belt, and we certainly incrementally built the innings, the ups, the number of pitches as he's gone along. He has gotten into the 80s, in his last one. So, Yuri, a full kind of what you think normal starter, 100 pitchers or so, not there yet. I mean, I think we also want to be just cognizant of where we're at, and this is a long-term play with him. So he certainly he has enough pitches to get us into the middle part of the game, depending on the efficiency of it. And I think really today what I'm most excited to see is just a very talented young player that we're counting on as part of our future here to be able to come back and compete at the major league level after a very lengthy rehab process. Just excited to know how much a player goes through during that time for it all to kind of culminate with that return to the mound here. So just as excited just to see him walk out of there in a uniform and go to the bullpen, warm up, come back through, shake hands, and then watch him run out there and go compete.
The last couple of days for you guys, you've gone through your bullpen big time. Obviously the big win Saturday, bullpen works a lot there. Yesterday was a bullpen game by design. Are there any plans on how you want to handle things once Yuri's day is done today?
Yeah, I think we did. We had to lean on the guys down in the pen quite a bit during that Tampa series, and they all answered the call. They really, it was an outstanding job by a lot of guys asking multiple innings and going back to back, and maybe a few things that we haven't had to ask of them very much this year, but they answered it, and we'll be cognizant of that. We have Yuri going tonight. Jansen Junk will certainly factor into this game, and he's been built up and stretched out, and these types of things, sometimes it just takes you a couple days to get through, and you kind of get, with the off day to turn things back over. We'll be able to be in a good spot to, piece these together for a few days until we can, kind of come out of what was a tough 3 days for our pen.
Marlins manager Clayton McCullough joining us right now. Another guy coming back to the lineup today, much shorter timeout, was Kyle Stowers. This is a really good pitching staff you guys are going to see this week. They're 5th in ERA in baseball over the last month. How big is his presence in the middle of the order for your club?
Certainly. I mean, what Kyle has meant to our offense this year, I mean, can't be overstated. I mean, he's hit in the middle of the order. It's the impact he's had. There's a presence there now. I mean, I think when we go play other teams, that certainly Kyle is someone that the opposition so needs to circle and game plan maybe differently for than in the past because his ability to change the game. So to have him back there in the middle of the lineup again to help lengthen things out while also being a dynamic contributor is big for us.
Top of the order, Xavier Edwards. He's been so good since coming off the injured list. Do you look at that as, hey, he's healthy and he's playing healthy for the first time, or is that there is a little bit of a less physical grind in playing second base than shortstop?
Maybe I think what X has been doing recently is the version of X that everyone has been grown accustomed to. Like it's high at bat quality. He's staying in the strike zone. It's slashing the line drives. Kind of all around the field, using the middle of the other side of the field, using the bunt game, getting into at bats, being stubborn in the strike zone, and even there was a stretch when X some of the hits weren't falling, but like the quality of that bat was good, and then unfortunately he had the injury and had to miss a little time. But even then, right before that, felt like it was turning, and kind of trending back towards the type of at bat and approach that leads to success for X. And since he's come back, I think he's just picked up and again, really done a nice job of swinging at pitches he wants to swing at, and then, hitting those low kind of tracing liners up the middle the other way.
Last question for you, Clayton. Obviously, you guys saw Pittsburgh in the beginning of the year. They are a very aggressive base running team. They stole a bunch of bags that season opening series. What are the plans to try to limit that base running that Pirates do so well?
Yeah, we will. We'll have to vary our times of the plate. We're going to have to try to, hold the ball some, vary up the cadence, just to try to, you're just trying to keep a potential threat over there for as many pitches as you can. Try to have the at bat, within the first 3 pitches, get some action from the hitter and get the ball moving. But we certainly are cognizant and aware that's a big part of their game and what they had done to us earlier in this season. We'll just, have to do our part, and certainly our awareness is heightened on that, and so we'll just do our best to try to mitigate and slow it down.
Marlins manager Clayton McCullough, thank you so much for the time. Good luck this week.
Okay, thank you.
Another great interview, Scott. That was awesome again. Look at you.
Was it better the second time?
I think it was.
It's like a fine wine.
It got better with time. I want to do some Marlins housekeeping here, and then we can throw to our X-Poll question, and then we can play some baseball on the Marlins Radio Network. Big thanks to Carlos Picari back in the Fox Sports 940 Miami Marlins Radio Network studios. It is turning into a really nice night, 72 degrees, and the rain has subsided. The tarp is off the field, and we will play baseball with Yuri Perez towing the rubber. So the housekeeping will be as follows. We'll do some chores here. Ryan Weathers is off to the 60-day IL with a left lat strain. Connor Gillespie was optioned to AAA Jacksonville. Some other housekeeping notes. Kyle Stowers is back in the lineup for the first time. In the last 5 days, he will bat fifth and play left field. Good for Kyle Stowers. He's been nursing that hand injury, hitting .280 for the Marlins with an .832 OPS, 10 home runs. He's just every Marlins game that has ended in a victory, it has felt like Kyle Stowers has had a big part of that. There aren't empty home runs. There's not empty extra base hits. I think what separated Kyle Stowers this year from some of the others around the league is his hits are incredibly meaningful in clutch time moments. So it's great to have Kyle Stowers back. Marlins need to get their offense going. They are facing a Pirates team that just swept the Philadelphia Phillies with their arms. Don Kelly has taken over for Derek Shelton, and the team has gone 14-14 since. So Yuri Perez will go opposite Mike Burrow here tonight. Let's get to our X-Poll question of today. At Marlins Radio, yes, Andrew McCutchen, he's still playing. He is tied with Roberto Clemente for third on the franchise all-time home run list with 240. Who are the two that he is still trailing? Make sure to vote at Marlins Radio. I got a from Scott.
That's a great history here.
It's a good one.
Do you want me to guess, or do you want me to leave that to the fans?
No, you got to leave it to the fans.
Okay,
It's
okay.
the expo
I have
question.
some ideas from walking around and seeing the statues.
But we did take the Clemente Bridge. That was a nice walk.
That is something special.
Beautiful walk.
Is that the coolest part about coming here is you can walk over a bridge to come to the ballpark?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the one walk that we can do is in San Diego, where we walk across right into the stadium at Petco Park. But here, you're outside. You're on the what river is this called again? I'm not great with
It's Allegheny, right?
Allegheny. Okay, yeah, good river, good river, good river.
It could be one of three. This is Pittsburgh is 3 rivers intersecting. So let me do some research on that.
Okay, get us back to it after I do my Steve's guarantee. Hey, Carlos, I'm ready for it. Let's sting it. Steve's guarantee.
Batter up. Batter up.
Let's play some ball.
First pitch is moments away. Time now for Steve's Guarantees.
All the Yuri Perez stands, don't jump on me. Let me explain myself, okay? Yuri Perez is going to strike out 5 batters. I know you're like, that's nothing, Steven. Well, I don't know how long he's going to go in the game. It's 80 to 85 pitches. The Pirates strike out the 7th most in baseball, so follow me on this. I think because with guys that are coming off Tommy John surgery, usually the offensive approach is let him throw strikes. I think command, velo, those are the 2 things that are most affected coming off a surgery like that. I think the Pirates have an approach where they're going to be waiting. They're going to see pitches. They're going to make Yuri Perez, believe it or not, throw strikes. And I think that's going to play into his hands. Now, on the other hand, he's got to be careful about the walks. Again, the Yuri Perez we saw in 2023, don't expect that like as soon as 720 hits when he gets on the bump. We've seen Sandy really struggle, but now after the last start, you're starting to feel good about his outing tomorrow. He was great, Sandy was, but he's coming off Tommy John. I think you got to be patient with Yuri Perez, and I think the Pirates are going to think the same way. I do like him to have 5 punch-outs here this afternoon. You got any update on the rivers, Scotty?
Yeah, that is the Allegheny. The Ohio is just a little bit to the right of this ballpark, and there's another one on the other side of the city. So I remember the old Steelers and Pirates Stadium.
Yep.
3 Rivers Stadium. That's the only reason that useless information is in my head still.
It wasn't useless because you used it on Marlins on Deck. Congratulations. You'll hear Scott in a couple of minutes here. We're going to go to break. Again, great job by Carlos. This was supposed to start at 6:40. I fear we went the distance. I fear I made it up the Rocky Mountains, and here we are at the top and waiting to see Yuri Perez throw for the first time in 2025. So, folks, I hope you got the itch for first pitch, because when we come back, Scott Kornberg paints the picture. Starting lineups in first pitch is right around the corner. Thanks for tuning in to the Marlins On Deck pregame show. I'm Steven Strom. Let's flip the M together, Miami Marlins baseball. It's next on the Marlins Radio Network.
Number 1 on your car radio.